You're listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. Wepa, what up, man? This is your boy Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders podcast. And today, we're stepping into the world of indie, all right? Indie filmmaking, baby. That's right. We have an amazing award-winning screenwriter, producer, director, entrepreneur. I mean, so many hats, my gosh. Hope she's going to talk to us about every hat she wears, all right? And this new fire sci-fi multiverse epic called Ingress. Oh, man. Wait till we dive in. Let me introduce this future legend in the making right here, this superstar with the craziest smile on the planet, the one, the only R&J, Rachel Noll James. How you doing?
Woo! I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for joining me today to talk about. You got this fire from. If you see these momentary skips, it's just thank you, Spectrum, for your service. That's all I want to say. All right. Anyway, but yeah, maybe that's the multiverse, energy attracting us right now, and just trying to pull me elsewhere when you see them spinny things. So every time that happens, we're in a different plane of existence. Okay, Rachel, what do you think?
Exactly. Yes, all right. I agree.
All right, so I want to learn all about you, and first your nerddom and where you're from. So those are the two most important questions here. Where you originally from, and what was the first thing in all of fandom that you fell in love with?
So I'm from Santa Fe, New Mexico. Okay. Born and raised. Yep. My nerddom, gosh, I loved so many things. So the earliest one I can remember falling in love with was the Goosebumps books.
Okay.
Do you remember those?
Absolutely. I mean, R.L. still doing his things in comic books now too. With those, it's pretty cool. A new generation getting put onto it. So yeah, I get you. I'm with you, Rach.
Yep.
All right, Bet. So how did you find that? Was it through family, through friends? Were you kind of a lone wolf in your nerddom growing up, or what?
I just kind of loved all things fantasy. I think I was a big library nerd, so I was always going and getting giant stacks of books at the library. And I think there was just a time in those, early 90s where it was like Goosebumps were the thing. And so I just remember taking stacks of them home and just pouring through them. It was the Goosebumps, and then it was those Animorphs books about the kids who could turn into animals.
Animorphs. Oh my God. Yeah. That's a throwback. I haven't heard that in a while. Animorphs. My gosh.
Yeah.
Great.
So, but yeah, I loved all kinds of fantasy books, and then it kind of grew from there.
Wonderful. Were you a lone wolf in your nerddom, if you will? Or did you have kind of a tribe of fellow geeks that you were chilling with?
Oh, a little bit of both, I'd say. My brother would geek out with me. We were big into the Harry Potter books together, and I had some friends who were nerdy artists. We would do all kinds of play acting and things together as kids.
Oh, that's cool. So, where you grew up in New Mexico, pop culture friendly, if you will, like a lot of stuff around there for you guys to do?
Oh, no, certainly not. Which is why we spent a lot of time hanging out at places like the library and Borders, because no, there's not much to do. I mean, Santa Fe is a beautiful place, right? No, it's a beautiful place. It's just, it's a lot of, there wasn't a whole lot to do as a kid, so we entertained ourselves, which is, good and bad, but mostly good in my case.
Okay, got to. So when the I like this emergence film, and I'm about to ask, when did your spark to want to do things begin to emerge, if you will?
I would say from the get-go. I mean, even as a little kid, I would put on plays with my friends. I was obsessed with Rapunzel, and there was this period of about 2 years where babysitters kept quitting because I would insist upon playing Rapunzel ad nauseum for hours, and they would have to play every part except for Rapunzel, which was my role. Not sure what it was about that particular princess, but I was always writing things and drawing and putting on plays. And
when you were but a wee laddie, did you have long hair? Maybe that was it.
No, but I always wanted it, like, desperately. It was a wish in my heart that never came true.
These poor babysitters. My gosh. That's a movie in the making. You must recite every line or you will die. Shit.
Yeah. The next what's that show? The Squid Games.
Oh my God, it would be great. All right, so diving into your creativity, so okay, you grew up with it, were always into it. When did you start taking it kind of serious though? Like when did that era pop up?
So I got into theater. I really got into theater in, middle school, high school, and then I did a lot of I was a theater major in college. I kind of always knew from the time when one starts thinking about what they want to be when they grow up. For me, it was I wanted to be an actor. That's where it started. But I was always very creative in other ways. And I went to college as a theater major for acting, and that was what I focused on. And then I graduated and kind of did the acting thing for a few years in LA, and then realized, like, oh gosh, this lifestyle is a lot of waiting around for people to give you permission to do art. And that was really hard for me. So I
Hmm.
kind of pivoted into, well, how can I create opportunities for myself so I'm not always waiting for, two-line roles in a movie that I don't even get, and I spent all day driving around, auditioning for. And so,
Preach,
um,
baby, preach. I love it, man. I love it. Yeah, take
yeah,
charge. That's what you got to do.
yeah, I think so
What is
too. And so that kind of became my path. I got back into writing, and I taught myself how to screenwrite, and then I kind of fell into an opportunity to produce a film.
Ooh.
Yeah.
How was the journey like? Learning how to screenwrite. What would you say was the roughest part in that journey of learning how to screenwrite?
So I'd done a lot of writing, like creative writing throughout my life. I think the biggest thing was just the sort of the format and the shifting of the perspective. So, the getting into the final draft and how everything needs to look, and then remembering that you can't write things that people can't see. So like that
Uh,
habit to kind of, describe what people are feeling and thinking is very creative writing and novelish. But then when you get into screenwriting, you can't say she was feeling queasy. You have to say, well, how does that show on the screen? You know what I mean? So that was an interesting twist. But turns out it's a medium that I really like, and I've pretty much exclusively been in that medium since I started. So
oh, fire, fire. So, what
yeah.
about the early ops? And now, here you are, you're learning, you're getting your things done. Now you're out there pitching and getting projects together. How was that journey like, when you started trying to put something together, build a team? How experienced was it? Was it a nightmare? Was it a dream? Did it flow easy? I mean,
Well, I would say it was chaotic, and it depended on the day. And the very first film I did, I kind of, like I said, I was in this workshop with a producer, and I kind of fell into this thing where instead of a class, we decided we were going to produce a movie, and there was a group of like 20 of us, but then it whittled down pretty quickly to me and a couple other people doing pretty much everything. And then yeah, so it kind of became like a film school for me that was kind of self-generated. So it was one of those film projects where it was like I had no idea what I was doing. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong, but somehow we worked our way through it, and we managed to get the film finished and sold and out into the world. And so it was, yeah, it was a little bit of everything, but it taught me a lot, so that I felt by the time
that's
I stepped into it again, I was
what
much
it
more prepared.
But you would agree then that hands-on is where it's at when it comes to learning. Like throw yourself into the fire, get in there, into that fire pit. Like you said, look, you made mistakes, but you still got it out there. And most importantly, what you said, it got sold. Oh shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah.
So, so that's great. Those failures obviously were probably amongst some of the greatest lessons you learned, I'm sure.
Always. Yes. I am 100% behind that philosophy.
Yeah, yo, for real. So all right. So now after that, you learn these things, how to put things together. When you started going dolo, how was that like? Did it become any easier based on those lessons you learned, or what?
Well, so Emergence Films, which is the production company that I founded with my producing partner, Sienna Beckman, it came together because of both of our sort of individual experiences being women in this industry, trying to get taken seriously, trying to get funding, trying to get opportunities. And it was not easy. And it was a lot of no's and a lot of confusing meetings and a lot of sexism and a lot of being the only woman in a room full of men on a lot of sets. And so we kind of came together thinking, the only way we're going to get to do this is if we find another way to do this that isn't constantly trying to get into a room where we're not really welcome. So that's kind of what sparked and lit this fire under both of us to create more female driven stories, to create more avenues for women to get opportunities and funding. And so that became really a passion point for me and for her, seeded from those experiences of kind of walking through those steps. And you know, some opportunities did come through, a lot didn't. And so I think sometimes, like you said, those adversities, those obstructions, those closed doors ultimately guide you towards your path, which is not always, and in my case, was certainly not the path you know, God was like, give me 6 months and I'm going to be, you know, starring on a TV show and just living it up. And it's just, that was not the path.
No. We all wish it was that easy, but it's not. But that's, you know what? That's the fun of the challenge, right? And a whole kudos to you for being strong enough to recognize, like, all right, these cats don't want to play. Let me show you something. I got you, no problem. I'll be right back. And
Yeah.
I like that attitude. So that's the way we need to be. All right. It's like one of those like home might be a moment. Oh, you don't want me here? All right, check this out. I'm gonna show you something, but you missed out. Don't come back
Yeah.
later. I'm one of those. I really believe in that. It's like, all right, you don't want to do it now? No problem. Don't come back later though.
Exactly.
When I first started, there were some people that, I wanted so badly on this show. And they're like, oh, decline me based on numbers and this, that. Oh, okay. But all of a sudden, months later, it's passed. They see what I'm doing. Oh, okay, now. Oh, now my numbers okay. Now I'm good. I don't need you. That's all.
Totally.
So I'm gonna have that attitude because again, we work hard. Again, you as a woman, me as a minority. It's not easy for us and trying to step into this world. You know what I mean? I'm look, you're my 480th podcast. You know what I mean?
That's amazing.
Yeah, but people recognize me, but I'm not up there as opposed to others that have 200 of the same. Because again, algorithms and things, which is
Totally.
okay. But I love that you're out here though. You're kicking ass. You're getting things done. You know what I mean? So talk to me. We're gonna start talking about Ingress right now, right? But before we even start dipping into it, guess what I have, folks? I have the trailer. Oh my goodness, we got the official trailer right here. So I'm gonna play this. All right, stay tuned. After the trailer, we're gonna get into this movie, the madness. Really dig into Rachel's nerdverse here. 'Cause let me tell you, this movie, woo, fire! And as the comic book fan, man, ooh, the multiverse is wild, baby. I love it. Tune in.
It's been happening again.
Often?
Since he passed. Yeah.
We recognize someone in the room who will benefit from a message we have to share.
Wait, please.
Write down your number. So the multiverse stuff that you talk about? Different potential outcomes, branching out into new timelines?
I love this geek stuff.
It's like I can move between those different timelines.
Whoa, Marvel, where you at?
I have to tell you something.
Is she real? Did I imagine her?
This reality is not what it seems.
Woo, 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 folks, did you see that? Wepa. Now we're gonna start digging in. Let me tell you though, first, I watched the movie. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to watch it. Let me tell you, oof. The way it ended, all I kept thinking is, man, I miss my family. I was like, oh man, I like the way you ended. I mean, it's touching, it's emotional, it's an emotional ride, but of course, that touch of nerddom, sci-fi, multiverse. Let's dig into that, Rachel. Like, where did the inspiration come for this film, and especially on that really wild multiverse ride style storytelling?
Yeah. So my dad's a physicist, and
Oh,
so
wow.
he taught physics when I was growing up, and he always had crazy books around the house, like the
Nerd
holographic
balls.
universe, and yes, right. So I had a lot of chats with him, and I read a lot of books about time travel and parallel realities, and I loved the Golden Compass books. I don't know if you ever read those.
Oh my gosh, yes, I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
I loved
Oh,
those books, and just kind of anything that was sort of an other, right? Like a something that took you out of the world, and I always loved
me
fantasy, and
back.
so this all kind of as I was the other side of this, so there's that whole parallel reality multiverse side of things, and then Santa Fe is also a very sort of metaphysical spiritual type community with a lot of fringy stuff going on, so energy healing and crystals and tarot and astrology, like these were things that I grew up sort of immersed in through my mom in particular, who was had a lot of friends in that space. And so the whole sort of spiritual channeling other dimensional things that came from sort of that side of the house. And I actually knew a woman. I grew up talking to a woman who was a channel. And so a lot of the content that came into this film was actually pulled from conversations I had with her. A lot of the Lucas content was pulled directly from those conversations. So I just had this thought of like, there's something so interesting there. How could it become a story? And I've always really loved grounded sci-fi. So taking, you know, a very high concept, but then grounding it in a very character driven, real world sort of space. And I don't know. So Britt Marling has a movie called Another Earth, which is a great example of this, which is, this high concept about another version of Earth that appears in the sky. But the whole story is really about two characters who are pretty broken, kind of working their way through their trauma, and it's a love story. And so I was really drawn to that kind of a story. And so I pulled from some experiences I'd gone through in my life. I pulled from these kind of, metaphysical physics, quantum physics realms. And then this story just kind of is what came out of me.
And the fire story indeed, and the concepts are crazy. The ride, the ride the main protagonist takes. I mean, and it's emotional throughout too. Like you pull in your heartstrings. Like, why would someone want to almost torture themselves this way? That's
Oh,
what
but it's the best kind of torture.
I mean. Yeah, it's definitely love and journey and those moments, those looks, those feels, those memories. I'm like, yeah, you were taking us on an emotional ride, and was that made with that intent?
I think I wanted it to feel like an experience that any one of us could be like, "I've experienced that. Was
Yeah.
I maybe? Did I maybe?" So it's like everything she goes through, I had people in early audiences who said like, "This is exactly what it feels like to have, an oral migraine," or, "This is exactly what it feels like before I have a panic attack." This was, like, such a great representation of that kind of a thing. So it's like grounding these sort of concepts into something that people, even if they wouldn't say, well, I travel between parallel realities, they might be like, well, I've had these experiences, maybe there's more going on here than I even know. And that's what I love about quantum physics, is the whole concept of quantum physics is the more we discover, the less we realize we actually know about the universe. And to me, that is just a great way to live your life, because if you live from a don't know mindset, then anything becomes possible. And in that space, you can kind of see the magic, however that manifests, right?
Oh, yeah. And I almost could believe in that multiversal and then transversal, being able to walk between, like, that whole shifting concept. So comic bookish. Did you ever read comic books?
I read the Archie comics.
Hey, Archie's cool. I read
Listen,
Archie. It ain't on that level of sci-fi, but hey.
no, I never really got super exposed to comic books growing up. I just didn't know a lot of people who read them or who had them around. As I got older, I got into some, like, I have explored some graphic novels and stuff, but I've never gotten super into that as a medium.
Oh,
Not because
gotcha.
I dislike them. I love the stories they tell. It never quite came
It
into
was
my
it
sphere.
wasn't your not in your lane, which is cool, but just the whole concept of multiverse. You should read Crisis on Infinite Earths. It talks about the DC's 52 universes colliding, crashing into one, and all the different things, and then which ones make it, which ones don't from each universe. It's so wild. I think you would dig it, based on these concepts over here. Because
Yeah.
again, her love story and I mean, again, heartbreaking, emotional. I was feeling it, and again, just the way that it ended, I felt like And man, this lady just done made me feel like, okay, shit. I was about to start calling everybody. I miss you guys. Great,
Totally.
great damn job on that. But also like, what where did you find this amazing team as well? Because you do have some dope special effects. You got a lot of stuff going on in the film. So, what was it like to build this team, and especially to build it towards the vision, at least your vision here? Like, how did that work? How was that synergy like?
Yeah, I got so lucky because this was such a low budget and it was such a passion project that I pretty much went to a few key people that I already loved and knew I could work with and said, "Do you want to come to Washington for a month and just play with me and I'll pay you what I can?" And because these people are who they are, they said yes. Dan Clark, who is our cinematographer, he also did all the special effects, and we came up with the concept together. And he's I met him on a film several years ago, and he's the guy I'll bring back on everything because not only is he an absolute wizard. I mean, you saw what he did
Oh,
with
yeah,
light and with,
yeah.
I mean, just beautiful, so
Beautiful.
little equipment. And then what he also did with the special effects, he's just the best. He's the best. And so the combination of him and Sienna is kind of my creative, anchors. And then we had, what was cool about this set is we had a lot of people who were new to film. So we had like kind of our core experience people, and then we brought a lot of interns and like community people who just wanted to learn and wanted to help. And so it really became a community project with a lot of people just pitching in where they could and learning. And it was really wonderful, honestly.
It sounds fun. Oh my gosh. And talk about the
Yeah.
equipment. Like, what type of equipment were you using to film the movie?
We filmed this on a red Komodo, which is like the teeniest little red camera. And what's great about it is it's fantastic, but you can also like hide it in cabinets and put it on, so it allowed us a lot of flexibility in terms of creativity with shots because it wasn't a massive camera. But and then we had just kind of like a basic lighting package, and we used a lot of natural light and just really leaned into kind of the natural wintry Pacific Northwesty, foggy vibe that was here, and kind of built the whole thing around that. And that's what Dan is
That was
really
the
great
vibe.
at.
Sure, definitely a Cali
Oh
vibe in
yeah.
that mother, for real. I mean, that West Coast, Midwest.
Oh yeah.
Love it, love it. All right, so like from beginning to end, like how long did the project take, and then especially on the editing floor? I mean, is there like hours of footage we were not that wasn't put into the film? Like, what's popping? Are we gonna have a director's cut, Rachel?
Um, because so we shot this in 15 days, which is really
Wow.
not very many days. And so I had to be very lean with being very specific each day about what we absolutely needed to get. So there wasn't a lot of fluff. And there were some scenes we only got, like one or two takes of each, set of coverage. And so yes, there's plenty that got cut out. Like that tea shop scene that's already pretty long at the center of the movie where Daniel and Riley have tea and kind of talk about everything. That was probably 10 minutes longer. So we had to cut a lot out of that. And so there was a lot of trimming and massaging that happened. A couple of scenes that got taken out entirely. But overall, I'd say it stayed pretty true to the vision that we were
I dig it.
exploring on set. Yeah.
I dig it. So how is it? How was it once the movie was out there? What was the audience, kind of reaction when you had it out there? Your very first showing. How did that go?
I was really nervous, as you can
I'm s-
imagine, because this is the kind of movie, right, where I was like, people are either going to like and get this, or they're going to be like, "What is wrong with you? This is the weirdest thing I've ever seen." So I really didn't know. But I've been absolutely blown away by kind of, as you said, like I feel like I thought maybe this film would have a very niche audience, but it actually seems to have quite a broad audience, and people just kind of take from it whatever is like relevant for them. And I've had such interesting conversations with people where they'll come up to me and say, I had this crazy thing happen to me, or this reminds me of, my relationship with my schizophrenic sister, and tell me that amazing story, or the mental health angle, or like there's so many ways people have found their way into this film. And I have so appreciated all the conversations I've gotten to have with people because it's just beyond anything I hoped for, I guess, really. When I made this thing was just felt so personal. It's like, how sometimes you make something and it feels like being naked in front of an audience just because it feels very vulnerable. This was that film for me where I just was like, well, this is me. All my weird just out on display. So take it or leave it. And it was just
I did my first movie like 2 years ago, right? It's touring on the indie circuit, right? The movie itself has won awards, and so has the director, and which is also the main actor, right? But it's my first thing seeing, right? And I went to New York like last month. It was the red carpet event. Okay, I had not seen it on a big screen. My gosh, I was like this when I saw myself. I'm like,
Oh, of
I was
course.
excited, and just the energy. But people were like, "Yo, you did great." This, that. I'm like, nah. But
Watching yourself for the first time is the weirdest thing ever.
yo, Rachel, how it blew my mind. Let me tell you, but everybody loved me, and but I was so embarrassed. I was like, oh my gosh, but I definitely want to do it again. It was fun. That's what I'm
You
saying.
should.
So, all right. So with this Ingress, like, where else can we see it? What's popping? This baby is like live now, right? For us to be able to view.
Yes, so it is. It's released this last couple weeks in the U.S. It's on Amazon Prime. You can also rent or buy it on Vimeo on demand, Fandango at home, and then in November it should have a wider release on all the sort of the free streamers.
Cool.
But yeah. So and then we're also hoping to get it out more widely worldwide in November as well, so that people outside the U.S. can watch it also.
So are you planning? I know the movie's out now, but you're gonna do any events anywhere? Maybe you guys showcase it, and the fans could meet you, chit chat. You have a nice Q&A session. What's popping? Anything like that popping?
I'd love to. We don't have anything currently scheduled, but we have been working out not only like in person, which would be fantastic, but we've found a platform that'll allow us to do virtual screenings where we can do talkbacks and screen it for people around the world who might want to watch it. And so I'm definitely doing outreach and trying to find communities, summits, places that might have audiences who'd be interested in something like this, who'd want to
Oh,
do
I'm
either a
sure.
virtual.
I need to
Yeah.
connect to homie Lance Lucero, man. Warehouse 9. He did his first film festival for his stuff, and it did really well.
Amazing.
So I'm very happy that it seems like people are understanding where indies at now. These are the future stars. Listen, the big production is nice and all, but they're getting bland, repetitive.
They
English is
are.
original story, folks. Originality to the core, sci-fi, emotional, drama, love. I mean, like you said, mental health, everything. You know what I mean? I dug it just because of that. There's so many things and so many ways you could kind of watch the film. And this is something you could watch way more than once and come out with a different kind of opinion. Oh shit, you know what? I didn't focus on that before. Oh, check this out. So I mean, Rachel is like, yo, I
Thank
love
you.
this. This is the future of filmmaking is in great hands. Let me tell you.
Thank
I'm
you
digging.
so much.
So talk to me, Rachel. Like, what do we have next? Once this does this thing and it's out there, you have anything else that you're currently writing, working on? Any new things that you could tease us about?
Yes. Yes. So there's a second feature that is will be hopefully coming out soon. We just signed with a sales agent internationally. It's called Inheritance. It's in its festival run right now.
Ooh.
It's another film that it's a totally different story. It's a sort of a family drama about inheritance in every possible definition of that word. Inherited money, inherited addiction, inherited traits from your family.
Inherited a battle royale during the will reading. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's coming out soon, and then I'm in the process of rewriting a script that I've been kind of noodling on for a while. It's becoming now kind of a witchy female western set in the 1800s, which I am super
Wait.
excited about. It's
Witchy female western. Wait a minute, you're talking black magic and cowboy shenanigans? Hey, wait a minute.
yep.
All right. Are we talking
Yeah.
like Gunslinger Spawn, but on a different level? Let's go. Please look up Gunslinger Spawn. Look, this is him right here. He is a cowboy demonic guy. Let me bring him up for you. Yeah, I love this character. But he's a cowboy.
Oh, cool.
But
Exactly.
he's a demon, and just witchery, Is he really good? Is he really bad? Hey, that's up to somebody else. Everybody has a different definition of that, right?
Exactly. Yes.
That sounds badass, Rachel. Holy shit. I mean, so how's that coming along? Like, do you have an idea who you want to cast already on that? That sounds so much fun.
I have some ideas. It's still early days, but if all things come together, which is a lot of things, hoping to shoot that next year. And as part of shooting that film, I kind of mentioned with Ingress, we had a bit of a learning set with people coming and learning and interning on the set, and we want to build that out further into a full-blown program for emerging female filmmakers, where they'll come shadow on this set.
Nice.
and then we will help mentor them through the development and production of their first short, their first micro feature. We'll fund them. We'll provide industry mentors. We'll help the films get onto the world. Like really just provide that ramp where we as early career female filmmakers felt like there wasn't one. We want to try to bridge that gap. So
Well, yeah,
that's what we're trying to build, and outreaching and fundraising and trying to get this all going for 2025. So send the good vibes.
Energy, Rachel. I love it. This is why I do this. It's for me to also open doors, be able to speak to new people out there and expose them, even through my channel with the little power that we have here. But it's something to be able to help and just, hey, listen, you never know who sees this that knows a million people. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
I love this exactly to help others, help them grow, because that's what we should do. It takes a village to do everything in life. I mean, not just children, but your projects, even your own life takes a village. You know what I mean?
100%.
So
yeah, and you kind of mentioned this, but I think as an underrepresented voice, right? Like any minority, anyone who's not, really a white man in this industry, it's like there's been so much seeded in us that we have to compete with each other because there's only one or two spots, right? But I think the more we can support each other and say, no, screw that. Like I will help you, you will help me, and together we will all rise. That's how it really works.
Oh my God, Rachel, you here. I give you such a big hug. My God, you are on the money. That's the energy we need in this industry. See, that's positive. That's love. That's growth. For me, I do this. I have no competition. I'm not competing. I'm doing this because I love to do this. I love to talk to people like yourself. You know what I mean? That inspire me. You have my heart pumped. Like, ooh, I want to do a movie now. Damn it, let's go.
Good. Yes.
Inspired me. So thank you, folks. You want to get inspired too? This is what you gotta do. Check it. I need you to follow on Instagram. She got three Instagrams. Yes, she a boss right there. So you go Rano J RANOJAY 10. Right. Then you got Ingress Film. That's INGRESSFILM. All right. And then you got Emergence Films. All right. As it sounds, it's very easy. There's also the links below. All right. Let me spell that out. All right. And then we also got the websites. You got emergencefilms.us. And then you got Rachel Noll James. When I say no, there's no K in front of it. It's just NOLL. All right. Check it out. So RachelNollJames.com. Stay tuned. This girl right here is definitely one of the bright future stars of this business. So you guys, listen, when you watch Ingress, you better come back to me like, yo, Al, that was mind-blowing. Because I'm telling you, it's going to fuck you up. And that witchy cowboy movie too, I'm like, I'm all in around that idea too. So this and that, I'm an R&J fan. That's it. It needs to be just R&J Productions, get the R&J Studios. Let's go. I'm digging it. I'm an R&J fan in the house. That's it, yo. All right. I'm an R&J stan. Let's go. For real, I'm a fan. I'm digging what you're doing. I love the energy. You made me happy. You definitely been one of the most positive guests I've had in a while, especially when it comes to talking about supporting community and building for community. Not many people talk like that. So, thank you for doing that. And I hope that folks, again, stay tuned because this is the type of people, again, and the energy that we need in this industry. It's so important. There's enough negativity and darkness. And I love that there's people out there like Rachel, bringing some light into this wonderful fandom of ours that we need so badly. All right. So, Rachel, before we go, any last words?
No, just thanks for having me. Advice.
Yes. Any advice for like an up and coming, female or even POC creator trying to step into the business in today's, landscape?
Yep. I would say two things. One, process is the prize. And I say this a lot, but like, if you can just fall in love with the process and let go of the attachment to it's going to win awards, it's going to make me famous, it's going to make a lot of money. If you just focus every day on what you love and why you love doing it, kind of let the future take care of itself, then every day you can wake up and do the thing you love. And that's really what it's about, because those like milestone moments, they are over in a flash, and then you're back to the day to day. So fall in love with the day to day and you're going to have a good time no matter what's happening. And secondarily, I would just say, as much as you can greenlight yourself. I mean, I spend a lot of time waiting for other people to greenlight me and it just wasn't my path. But if you have a story you're burning to tell, there is a way to tell it. You don't need to wait for a ton of money. You don't need to wait for a big studio to say yes to you. Like, find a way to make your art and tell your story, because the world needs your stories. And however you can figure out how to tell them, there's people out there who want to hear them.
Yep. And Emergence is there as well to help you tell those stories. So again, I'm gonna show it one more time. I mean, you said that about you helping the community. Can they reach to you through Emergence Films or .us and Rachel Noll James.com, which is the best platform for folks to reach out and say, hey, I'm interested in partaking and building with you, which is the better path?
Reach out through Emergence Films. There's a contact form, and you can also sign up for our newsletter to stay up to date on, when we do launch this program, etc. We'll announce it there.
Oh, I can't wait. Rachel, again, thank you for your time. Thank you for supporting the community in the way you have. Thank you for sharing in your stories and your vision as a fan to creators. Again, it means a lot. I know it takes a lot of courage to share those stories, and be vulnerable like that. Hey, this is me. All right. So, and thank you. I appreciate every part of it. You rock. And mi gente, mi Crusaders, please show that love. Let them know that Mega and the Crusaders sent to her. And with that, Crusaders, thank you for everybody that tuned in. I see that you were shy today, didn't want to ask questions, but listen, y'all saw the trailer. If you didn't, just play it back after this is over. All right, check it out. And again, I have all the links below. Sub to her, show the love, follow, say hello, and let her know that you got her back. Because again, Ingress is the movie right here, right now. It's out now, baby. Hey, stay tuned. Hasta la próxima, mi gente. It's out, Mega. RNJ. Wepa! Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.shop and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.